this computer. Okay, so remember, we are going to use point slope form. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, point slope form. I did say it right. Now, if I want it parallel, that means that's going to be the same slope as this line, right? So that means I'm going to plug in a 2 for that m. The point that they give me is going to be x plus 4. The reason why I'm putting a plus instead of minus is because this is already negative, and in my equation, there's already a subtraction sign. Okay, over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to put y minus 1. Yay. Now, if they wanted us to write it into the y equals mx plus b format, that's fine. I'm going to just distribute. Okay.
Wait, if the formula is, I wrote it down. Sorry.
Good talk. Okay. So if I distribute this, I'm going to get 2x plus 8. And then I'm going to move that 1 to the other side by adding it, right? So that's going to be, sorry, this is messy. Y equals 2x plus 9. Okay, so you see how the original equation and this equation have the same slope, right? Fantastic. If you were to graph both of these lines on your paper, they would look roughly like this.
Whoa.
I know, 2 lines that run parallel, imagine. Wild, but 2. Thank you. Okay, now they say draw a parallelogram using the 2 lines you graphed and using -4, 1 as a vertices. Okay, so really quick, because Desmos is my friend and I'm not actually going to try to draw this out. I'll go back. Hold on. There you go. Okay, so because Desmos is my friend, I'm going to take these 2 equations that I have, graph them, and graph the point -4, 1. All right, so here we go. I'm doing 2x plus 3. That's z. That is totally a z. Okay, and then I got 2x plus 9, right? I know, wild. Okay, so then I want to graph the point -4, 1. And I'm going to zoom out. So then they say, hey, draw a parallelogram. So I'm going to take this off the screen and then I'm going to put it back on. So don't freak out. So when I draw my parallelogram, I'm just going to draw a straight line. And then like, how far am I going to go? I mean, depending on how they actually want to talk about this parallelogram, this could be the parallelogram, right? Okay, or we could have the one above it. That's fine. Okay. What did you do?
I did 10x plus, no, I did 2x minus 4 instead of 2x plus 4. And my equation was parallel to the original one, but it didn't lie on -4.
Yeah. So you essentially graphed this. So I mean, like, yeah, it's parallel, but it's not going to touch that point, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to probably have to use that point slope formula, right? Okay. Another way you could have done this, and I'm just going to go back just in case nobody finished writing. Another way you could have done this, this is the way I kind of do it. So if I were to take this equation right here, and I plugged in -4 into this equation and 1 into this equation. Okay, so that's going to be -8 plus 3. 2 times -8 is -16. -16 plus 3 is -13. And then we got a 1 on the other side, right? So that's going to be 14. Like, we can't really plug this in. You can find the difference between the two, but you notice how like 9's chilling out here. I wouldn't substitute this in. You can do it this way, but I don't want to go into more detail than that because you're gonna get confused. Okay, so yeah, exactly. So I would use the point slope form. Okay, just use the point slope form. Use point slope. That one. Yes. Was what? Okay. All right. I don't want this one. Look at the problems up on the board or the equations. Which four lines could form the four sides of a rectangle? Which four lines could form four sides of a rectangle? I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes to kind of think this one through. Am I what? Okay, so which lines form the four right sides? Give me two pairs.
Y plus 2x equals 8.
Okay,
And 2y equals 4x. What? X minus 4. 4 minus x. I can't speak English.
that one.
Yes.
Logan, what's the other two? 2y equals,
y equals 1/2 x plus 2.
okay,
Y plus 2x plus.
fantastic. Okay, so how did you know? Graphing calculator, yes, that's exactly what I wanted you to say. I know, Desmos did carry, absolutely. Okay, so with that being said though, could you have done it by hand? Yes. You would have put them all into y equals mx plus b format, and this is what you would have gotten.
Way longer.
So I'm gonna show you really quick. Okay. And y equals 2. Okay. What do you mean? So you move everything to one side and then leave the y by itself.
And just push it over a little bit.
Yep. So you
And then you
change.
switch the equal sign in the.
Yep. Okay. So this would give you -2x. This would give you, okay, so see how these are parallel to each other? Okay. I don't think this one's right. I don't think I should have circled this one. I think I should have been this one. Because when I look at the slopes, look at the slope. It says -1/2 x.
Oh,
This is
so I did
positive.
the right one. I just read it wrong.
Yep. So this one's wrong.
I was right.
It should be this one. So it's going to be y equals -1/2 x minus 2. Because, not the negative. Because we want the same slopes so that they're parallel to each other. Okay? Cool.
You can erase the other one too.
Yeah,
To get out.
that's
of the
okay.
way.
Shh, that's okay. Okay, so when we get back, we're gonna kind of
Yeah, that thing. And then put the negative.
you just switch the sign and then flip it. Yep. All right.
Wait, so number 2 is not parallel because they have different signs.
Yep.
Because the first one is negative.
I'm going back. 1 second. No.
Oh. Yes. Wow.
Practice. Am I getting rid of them?
When?
Why?
Because I want to. Like my spot. Plus the charger thing is behind it. I can't charge it.
That's tough. Those are probably gonna stay. I know, the worst. Eventually, not right now though. Okay. All right, ready? Ready? Ready?
Ready? Yes.
No.
Oh, that's aggressive. Yeah. All right, so on your paper, go ahead and draw this out. Determine the midpoint of the segment. What? That's tough.
I mean, I guess just use the calculator. Where did you find the distance? Like divided by 2.
We're gonna talk about it. You could do it that way. You could do it that way. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So if you were to find the midpoint, there was a couple of different ways.
Looking at the cross section, isn't that when you just like cut the shape like in half? Okay. What is that shape look like?
It's like an oval.
Like a weird shaped oval?
Like, look at the cone that's over there.
Oh, the thing that's inside the
Mhm.
room. Oh, okay. This is like the one we had on the seat.
Mm-hmm.
And then for that one, you told me it's gonna be like by the bed, and it was here. But now I'm like confused because like it is a different shape, but it's like has the same board and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we're still gonna be making like a cylinder. 'Cause it's
It can
like,
be a cylinder either way.
okay, good. So it's still gonna be like the same weight whether we see it or is it gonna be different?
In the world.
Okay, good talk. All right, ready? Tough. Okay. Take a second, write that out. Say again. I would, just so it kind of makes a little sense. Trying to pull up the formula sheet, make sure y'all got that. There we go. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is there a swimming pool?
Yep, fourth floor, Mhm.
Is it big?
I think so. Fourth floor E building. All right, so let's go. And we're gonna talk about them in just a second. So when you are giving the fraction, you are going to use this guy. Okay. Now, whatever the point is that is on the left-hand side, that's going to be your x sub 1. Okay. Your x sub 2 is going to be on the right-hand side. Okay. So let's go ahead and label what we got. All right. We have -6 comma -16. That's going to be my x sub 1, y sub 1, right? And this 34 comma 2 is going to be your x sub 2, y sub 2. Okay. Now they gave us this 3/4. This 3/4 is going to be our A divided by A plus B. Okay,
Like 8/8.
yep, that's what it's gonna be, equals 3/4. Okay, so what do you think B is in that case? It's 1, right? Because if A plus B is 4, then B must be 1, right? We're gonna call it partitions.
Yeah, I put partition for me. What about the other?
It's the same thing. It's just depending on when you're given information.
So.
Okay, so now
this one is for fraction.
we're gonna plug in. Okay, so we're gonna take all of our information, we're gonna substitute it in this junk. Okay, this is where you have to be neat on your paper, otherwise you're gonna get confused. So we've got x sub 1, which is gonna be -6, plus our fraction, which is gonna be 3/4, x sub 2, which is 34, minus -6, so that's gonna make it plus, comma, I'm gonna put this in a different color so you can actually see it. Y sub 1, which is -16, plus 3/4, y2 minus -16. Okay, so all I've done so far is I've taken all my information and I substituted in. At the very end of this, you want a point. Okay, so you want an x value and a y value. Yep. So we're taking a line and we're chopping it up. Kayla. Because we got minus -6 and minus -16. Okay. All right, so yes,
So why is 3/4 equal that?
the 3/4 is taking the entire distance and then chopping it into 3/4 of the segment.
So that's what A
No, that's taking the entire line segment and chopping it 3/4 of the way. Well, where is that 3/4? That's what we're trying to find.
So again, in this context, the A over A.
Yes.
But it's like, would that always be the distance I was trying to find?
It'll be a different number.
I mean, yeah, it would be.
Right.
It would mean something else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, no, like for the entire distance, it's taking the entire distance of this line segment, and then whatever the fraction is, it's chopping it that way, that much of the way. Does that answer that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what-
Okay. So when we simplify this, we're going to get 34 plus 6, which is 40. And when I take 3 and multiply 40, what do I get? 120. And we're going to put that over 4, right? What's 120 divided by 4? Okay, so what's 30 minus 6? 24. Okay, so that's going to be my x value. I'm so sorry, that's so low. That's going to be my x value for this entire thing. Okay?
Wait, you wrote down.
Yes. So here it is again. -6 plus 120 divided by 4. I'm going to have -6 plus 30. Because 120 divided by 4 is going to give me 30. And then -6 plus 30 is going to give me 24.
Okay.
How did we?
Okay, I simplified just this part. That's all I've done so far. So now I'm going to simplify the y part. Yes, Logan.
Okay, so I got 126, you had 34 plus 6, and then,
Multiplied 3 times 40.
okay, let's put that over 4.
Yep. Okay. Over here on this side, I've got 2 plus 16. What does that give me?
18.
Okay, and then 18 times 3, 54. Okay. And again, I'm going to write this in a different color so that you can see the separation. So this is going to be -16 plus 54 over 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we divide 54 over 4?
Nice.
Okay, so what is that gonna be? We can simplify it by 2, right? Well, what's 54 divided by 2? 27, and that's gonna give me 2 in the denominator, right? Okay, so this is gonna be 27 over 2. And we're gonna add negative 16 to that. What's that gonna be? We're gonna say negative 16 plus 27 over 2.
Negative 2.5.
11.
Oh, negative 16.
Negative, okay, so what's 27 divided by 2 in decimal form? It's 13.5, and then we're gonna add negative 16 to it. So ready? Shh. We got negative 16 plus 13.5. Negative 2.5. Yeah, so our final point is going to be 24 comma negative 2.5. Could you have found that on a graph? Maybe, but that being said, probably not. You're probably not going to be exact. Okay, so like we were talking about earlier, we are going from the beginning of this line segment, which is right here, to the end of this line segment, which is right here. Okay, now keep this in mind. This is 34 comma 2. And this is negative 6 comma negative 16. I want to go 3/4 of the way from the starting point to the finishing point. Okay, so that is the point 24 comma negative 2.5, which is roughly right in here somewhere. That is all that I'm saying with this.
Oh, you did the point so far.
So here it is again. Ready? I need you to hear me. Don't look on it, like, don't look at it visually like that. I want you to see we have a starting point and a finishing point. We're going along this line 3/4 of the way, which is the point 24 comma negative 2.5. That is all we are saying. Okay, I know it's kind of like why you're not going to use partitioning until you get really into higher math, but you're being taught it now. That's it. Okay, I'm going to show you the next problem. The next problem you're going to use the other formula for.
Oh, yeah, how do you decide which?
So if they give you a fraction, then you're going to use the one with this a divided by a plus b.
Which one is the X and which one is the Y?
Which is the first one, which is the second one?
Yeah.
Whichever one is on the left-hand side, that's your first one.
Okay.
And then whichever one's on the right-hand side. We always go left to right unless they tell us otherwise.
Okay.
Which they probably will do left to right anyways. Okay. All right, so here's the next one. Okay, go ahead and write example 2 is different numbers. And look at how it's written. It says ratio of 1 to 2. Okay. Okay, so you're saying example 2, and I'll put which one's B. Okay, so let's talk on this one. The ratio is always A to B. Okay. Wow. Okay, so when we graph this, we're gonna get this point to this point, which is gonna be way up there. Okay, so it's gonna look like this. And we want to know the ratio of 1 to 2. Okay, we're gonna use this equation to plug in. Okay. So let's go ahead and label what we got. We've got -9 comma -18. Okay, that's gonna be our x sub 1, y sub 1. Okay, our 6 comma 24 is going to be our x sub 2, y sub 2. We're going to take all of these numbers and plug them into this junk. Okay, so this is going to be 2 times -9 plus 1 times 6 over a plus b is going to give me 3. I'm going to do the same thing with the y value. 2 times y sub 1, which is -18, plus 1 times y sub 2 over 3. Ratio is always A, B. Okay, so this is going to give us, you said what? -4, 4? Okay, so let's check in. All right, we get -18 plus 6, which is going to give us -12. -12 divided by 3 is going to give me -4. Over here, because 6. So 2 times -9 is -18. -18 plus 6 is going to give us -12. -12 divided by 3 is -4. Multiply. All right, so 2 times -18 is going to give me -36. -36 plus 24, because that's what that's going to give me, is what? -12. -12 divided by 3 is, okay, so -4, which is right in here somewhere. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, one thing that they always ask is, what's the fraction if you know the ratio? So let me clarify this really quick. This tells you A, this tells you B. Remember our fraction from the other equation? This whole like A divided by A plus B. So this would be 1 divided by 1 plus 2, which is 3. So 1/3. Is this 1/3 of the way? Yeah, roughly. Now my picture sucks, but yeah, you get the point, right? Okay. So you could do it just that first way. If you wanted to figure out what the fraction was based off of the ratio, you could do it that way. So that way you only have to work with one equation, but it's up to you. Okay. All right. So I want you to take a moment. I want you to try this one. Okay. And you're just going to do it in your paper. Okay. So I want you to find the coordinates or the coordinate for this line segment. Too much. All right. So I got 1/5 comma -12 over 5.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. You majority of the time are going to see these in fraction forms. Get comfortable. Okay. If you're ever unsure, just plug it into Desmos, check if it's the same decimal, and then you can kind of go from there. Okay. Questions on this? Yeah.
I got it right, but I first, because like I put like 2, 3.
Put 2, 3, as in like the point.
You know, like the equation. I put like it said like 3. Parentheses,
Yeah, I
negative
switched them too.
Yeah. I have the next one.
Oh, okay.
Wait, so how do you know like?
Which one's A and which one's B? Whichever one's listed first, A, then B. Yep. And it does matter. Does matter. Okay. Really quick, if I were to say halfway between the 2 points, what formula could you use instead? We could use the same thing, but if I said halfway between, what formula did we start this class off with? Not distance, the midpoint formula, right?
The midpoint.
Okay, so if I said halfway between, I could use the midpoint formula. Think about what the midpoint formula actually looked like. Ready? Girl, I got it. Okay, think about that really quick. It's 1/2. It's the exact same formula. They've just done it for you. Does that make sense? The one that you're going to use most often is midpoint. Yeah? Not that shook. Okay, so this is just a fancy way of saying 1/3 or like 1/2, like finding a different one. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice some because I know you need it. You need more practice. Yeah.
Not you, me.
With that being said, this, you're probably gonna want to pull this up on your computer. Okay, it's all word problems. Look at this. Yeah. Okay, so what I need you to do is when you look at this, actually, I'm gonna print this out for you. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. That way you can kind of draw on it and stuff.